Arizona Governor Doug Ducey met with President Biden at the White House, and he joins us now. Great to have you, Governor. Thanks so much for being here. When it comes to the border, let's start on that. You warn that the cartels are not only shaping our border policy, but that the Biden White House is acting as their marketing arm. Did Biden have an answer for that?
The Biden White House is really disconnected from the reality of the border. They keep talking about the Northern Triangle, Honduras, Guatemala. They're not addressing the real public safety issues that are happening at the border, what the cartels are doing, what's happening around national security, and the fentanyl that's pouring over. So I think they have message points in that White House. They don't want to address the reality of the danger and the drugs that are spilling into our country. So we're deploying our National Guard. We've got the Border Strike Force, but we've got other parts of the border that are wide open and unprotected.
One of the things the president did say while the media was still in the room, he said, we have a lot of work to do when it comes to the border. But one thing I'm sure he didn't want to go into too much are these secretive flights, taking migrants from the border and flying them elsewhere throughout the country. Eventually, as you know, Governor, the media was ushered out of the room before you and your fellow governors were able to ask questions. Did anybody press the president on those secret migrant flights?
He was asked about the border and immigration. He didn't touch on the flights that we are all so concerned about. And why I say he's so disconnected, he was very generous with his time, but he went on and on about the good old days, about when he and Lindsey Graham were trying to solve immigration when they were both senators. Now listen, he's been vice president for 8 years. He was out of office for 4 years. Now he's the president of the United States. He could take action right now that would secure that border. We sent him a 10-point plan from the Republican Governors Association that he could address immediately to secure our border. So what we want is action, attention, and purpose from this administration, and it's can't wait. It needs to happen right now. These fentanyl overdoses that we're reading about in towns and cities well outside of Arizona are coming over our southern border, and it needs to be addressed from a public safety perspective. If Kamala Harris is looking for root causes, all she has to do is look inside the Oval Office.
And Governor, lest we not forget that a Texas corporal is going to be buried following being killed at the hands of an illegal immigrant who crossed our southern border. Want to get your thoughts on this before we have to let you go. COVID, obviously a big issue, but you sued President Biden last Friday. That might have made for a little bit of an awkward moment in the White House. The reason you're suing is because of what the federal government is doing to you with regard to COVID funds. What are they trying to do to you?
Joe Biden is more focused on masks than he is on math. We want to take our dollars and get our kids caught up. We want to eliminate learning loss in Arizona. And if there is a bureaucrat in the education cartel that wants to shut down a school to virtue signal, if they do it for even one day, that parent can take their taxpayer dollars and go to the school of their choice. That's what we're going to continue to do. We're focusing on getting our kids educated, math, reading, science, and American civics. In addition, we're going to be having summer school in Arizona. It's going to be a camp to get these kids caught up. We're not going to let the Biden administration get in our way, and when they try to bully us, we'll take them to court, and I'm confident we'll be successful.
Governor, why has everything, when it comes to COVID, been such a power play from this Biden White House?
Well, I think the Biden White House loves the top-down, one-size-fits-all federal strategy, and it's obviously failed. If we truly want our states to be laboratories of democracy, give them the latitude and look at places like Arizona, Texas, Florida, Tennessee. Every Republican state has handled this differently. They have protected lives, livelihoods, and individual liberties, and it's working. There is an exodus from these blue states where there's failed policy. Americans are voting with their feet. They're coming to places like Arizona. They're welcome in Arizona. All we ask them is, please don't forget why you left California in the first place. We're going to keep Arizona, Arizona.
Governor, 30,000-foot view. As you walk out of that meeting, was there anything that the president said that led you to believe, have any confidence in this administration going forward?
The president is disconnected from the reality on the ground right now. What's happening with inflation, the national security issue at the border, in addition to the public safety issue at the border. There wasn't much for us to have confidence in what's happening in this White House. He did pledge to work with governors. Now, those are words, and he's had positive words in the past. What we look to as governors are real actions, and what we want is the flexibility and ability to shape our state's own future. So stop trying to help us, President Biden. If there are resources available, send them to the states pro rata. Quit paying people to not work, stay home, and self-medicate. Let's get the economy going again, get the natural dynamism, and let's secure the border. Let's protect Americans. That's the role of the federal government. Governor Greg Abbott and I will do what we can in Arizona and Texas, and we're doing everything we can. But if our entire southern border isn't secure, then neither is our nation. The federal government needs to step up and do its job.
Governor Ducey, we appreciate you being our eyes and ears in that meeting. We appreciate your time today. Thank you.